Hello, everyone. Today, I want to touch on a subject that, when we talk about dissociative identity disorder and otherwise, and OSDD rather, I don't like saying the full name. It's really long and it's difficult to say. How do I get rid of that top bar? Anyway, and we talk about OSDD and DID. It's one of the most common subjects that come to mind, and it's dysphoria. Now, what is dysphoria? I mean, I'm assuming everyone knows what dysphoria is. It's this feeling of not fitting in your body. Like something is off when you look in the mirror and you don't see yourself. You see someone else. Someone different, or something you don't like about yourself. This feeling, it's so burdening because it reminds you of what you're not. It's this feeling of unease or dissatisfaction with yourself. It happens a lot to people who have, DID and OSDD, because this is generally not our body. In fact, within our system, not a single alter associates to the body that we were given. Sure, a lot of us feel more comfortable with our body and have gotten used to the body, but are not quite comfortable with it completely. This is important to keep in mind because it's burdening. It feels awful. It sucks. And it's one of the things I want to touch on because when you think about dysphoria, it feels so missing almost. How little it is spoken about. How little we really mention how to deal with these things. Because no one really has information on it. So, how do you deal with dysphoria? And what is the best way to deal with dysphoria? Well, I don't look anything like the body. That is something that stands true to this day. I look at it and I feel uncomfortable. Almost like I don't belong. Like if I'm being rejected and there's two forces fighting within me, telling me I'm not real. I don't have OSDD, or I'm not Jikan. I'm someone else. I'm the body. I'm the kid of my parents, and it creates this uneasy feeling in my stomach because when I look at it, it reminds me of my OSDD. Now, we have gone over this, and there are two main factors I want to bring up on how to fight this feeling of unease within you, because I feel like there's not enough tips or tricks to fight against it, and some systems are covert and don't want to go out dressing like women when their body are males, or vice versa, because you're a covert system, or you don't feel comfortable doing it, or maybe none of your friends or families know, such as my own. So, what do you do in those scenarios? When everything else feels so impossible, so hopeless, you look down and you don't see breasts, or you do see breasts, and that's what's making you uncomfortable. And well, one of the tips is already, as everyone already knows, and it's just making modifications within your body that suits you. But more importantly, there's one thing you need to keep in mind, and it's making modifications in your body that suits everyone. My partner system, their body is female, and there are a lot of male alters within their system, and I try to keep in mind when regarding them and their physicality and appearance that their male alters don't enjoy long nails, despite the fact that girl alters do. So it causes this unease and this uncomfortable argument between the alters of who should be happy with the body, who doesn't get to be. Because the females get to have their reproductive organs and they get to just be themselves. Meanwhile, the males are stuck feeling uncomfortable in the body they are, and that is not limited to them, and it's not limited to us, and it's not limited to this disorder. It happens to trans people, and I think it happens to just about anybody. The feeling of looking in a mirror and seeing your nose and feeling uncomfortable with it, or your eyes or your eyebrows, wishing you were just a little taller, or a little slimmer or a little buffer. And for most people, it's easy to fight it. It's easy to look down and say, I just have to put a goal out for myself. And okay, some suffer from more difficult things to change, but one thing stands true, and it's that we don't get to transition. This haunted us for the longest time. And when we would look in the mirror and we saw the body reacting, we felt uncomfortable. Like we weren't home. Specifically, the female alters that we have within our system, they felt so out of place, so ugly and embarrassing. And we started fighting this by the second tip rather, because I already gave you the one changing your body, and it's not changing your body. I want to clear on that a little bit more. I feel like it is fair to have a certain level of girliness or manliness when it comes to your body, but it's fair to think of everyone within the system and how they feel about the modifications done to the body. I feel like it's important to keep in mind that everyone shares this body and not everyone is going to be happy with it. Who's happier with some aspects and who isn't? For instance, I have advised my partner system that they keep their hands looking as neutral as possible, because long nails are aggressively dysphoric to male alters. And I feel like that is one thing you notice a lot. It gets in your way of touching the computer. It gets in your way of opening doorknobs. It gets in the way of washing dishes. And if it's going to make the male alters more comfortable and only slightly inconvenience the female alters, I feel like we've reached a middle point in which both can, how do I say this? Both can feel equally uncomfortable or comfortable, because when it comes to this disorder, most of the disorder that relies a lot on compromise. It relies a lot on giving up things that you don't want to give up. You have to give up your job, your looks, your life almost, and surrender it to a group of people. And that's fine. I have grown accustomed and quite happy with my arrangement with people. But no, I'm gonna leave it a little louder. I've grown happy with my arrangement, but there's one thing that we cannot ignore, and it's that the body. So where do you compromise? For me, I decided that we should tell our partner system that their nails are really important. And when it comes to the body physicality, in the sense of like the level of the weight that you can change, try to find a middle ground in which everyone feels comfortable. And yeah, it doesn't fix every problem. There's a problem with hair. There's the problem with beards for the male systems out there, such as ourselves. And it brings this level of dysphoria and discomfort within that it collides and it doesn't work. So when the body is not yours and you're never going to be happy with it, at least try to make sure that a lot of people are happy. Which leads me to my second point and how we stopped our dysphoria partially. And it was trying to look at the body not as ourselves, but as a separate entity from us. Like, we're so used to looking in the mirror or looking at people and recognizing people by their level, by their physical aspects, that it's only natural that when we look in the mirror, we try to look at it and figure out who is looking back. I mean, some people would argue that it's themselves. Some alters feel comfortable within their body, and some alters want to associate to it, and some do. And those who see it recognize that specific alter within the body, as if owning it, as if any piece of item or a food that you're looking at, and you say, hey, that food is blank alters. But when no one fits the body and every alter feels uncomfortable with it, we decided to take an approach of looking at the body as an item or an entity or a baby. This thing that we all agreed upon that we should take care of together, that it's important to us, that matters to us. This feeling that it's our baby because it keeps us alive and it keeps us safe and it keeps us moving and going. So maybe not looking at our body as an accessory, but rather as an extension, kind of like an arm or a leg, because it's more than that. It's every limb put together. And stop focusing so much on how we look. And yes, I understand that is very difficult. I never said this was easy, but, and especially because a lot of people see the body and will continue to. But looking at a body like a baby or an entity or something that can't take care of itself helped us to look in the mirror and see things through a brighter aspect. That maybe that person looking back in the mirror isn't Jikan, or it's not Emma, who is within our system, or Danielle, who's also within our system, but it's also a love letter from all of us. All of us trying to take care of it, trying to survive, trying to live, looking at the body and taking care of it, and seeing it well groomed, or seeing it losing weight and feeling more healthy within it, helped us in turn feel happier with it. Because the body didn't belong to one person in the sense that we look like it. It didn't belong in the sense of like the appearance, as much as it mattered how well it was. It was more than a physical thing. It was our child. It was us. I can only assume it's a mild feeling, as parents feel when they look at their children and they don't see a body, but rather someone taken care of with personality and, all that stuff. So when I look in the mirror, I try not to look at the mirror and try to say Jikan looking back, but maybe seeing my body look back and recognizing the body as a separate being, a separate entity, and looking at the way it is dressed or the way that it is being taken care of, the weight, the clothing, the way our hair is done that day or that week or that month, and think we're taking good care of this thing that is doing its absolute best to keep us alive. Because if we have this disorder, it's already trying hard enough as it is to keep us alive. So of course, this body should be something we cherish, like a item, maybe one of our favorite trinkets to keep, one of the things we look at and remember, that one time we went traveling and entered a pawn shop. Just that this one has kept you through all of your tough times from day one. In fact, even before that, this body has done so much to try to keep you safe. So why not in turn give it its same favor? Do it that same favor. And the last one, the third and final tip, because apparently there were 3 that I give to deal with dysphoria, is mostly, I'm not sure if it works for everybody, but it's a system we have started to take upon ourselves, and that is adopting bodies. So what does adopting a body mean? Imagine you were making a movie about yourself and all the ultras within your system, and you had to sit down and think, who would play each and every one of them? And more importantly, who would play you? That is what I'm talking about. Finding a body that suits you from any form of media. Like, try to picture fictives and how they tend to look and act and feel like a member of media. And understand how they see life, how they see themselves. That sometimes when they look from where they come from, they feel a sense of home. They get to see themselves work, and it's a sense of home, and it's a sense of melancholy because they're looking at a body that is not theirs, but at the same time is. And that is what we have tried to take upon ourselves. Find a body, the body we are most comfortable with, the body that we look at and we say, that is as close as I could me, or that person acts or looks like or feels like me, and try to make that your body within the inner world, because it is so nice to be able to look in a show or a drawing and see yourself, seeing expressions, seeing how you look with other people, how you talk, how you move, seeing yourself live. It's, if I'm not wrong, and I'm not using this word wrong, cathartic. This feeling of relief and happiness, this feeling that you're home, sort of. It's melancholical because it's not really you, and it's not really how you look. But being able to look like that and being able to see a physical representation of who you are within the inner world is cathartic. This feeling of freedom and happiness. For once, you own something and you can see something. For once, you are tangible within this world. Just finding one body and adopting it, and you don't have to stick to it. I've changed bodies several times throughout my life, and I'm happy with the way it is because I get to go out and look at fan art and see myself represented among the fan art. Maybe it's not meant to be for me. Maybe it was never meant to take me as a role. But I take pleasure and happiness in seeing the fan art of myself, even if it was not meant to be for me. Or being able to go and watch a show, or watch a movie, or play a video game, and see yourself represented. It's small, and it hurts sometimes, not being able to look like you wish to. But it's freeing to be able to adopt a body, finding it and saying, that's how I would look. That's the actor I would have that would play me. That is the way we as a system have dealt with dysphoria. Now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a very good day.